The proposal and the shot. The evening sky on the alien planet of Valora was painted with soft purple clouds. Twin moons rose slowly behind the trees, casting a silver glow over the land. In the middle of a quiet field stood two figures, one human, one alien. Jack knelt on one knee, holding a small silver ring in his hand. His eyes were calm but focused. He looked up at Zira, the tall, blue-skinned alien woman standing in front of him. "Marry me," he said softly. Zira's eyes widened. Her long fingers trembled slightly, but her face stayed still. She didn't speak. For a moment, there was only the sound of the wind moving through the glowing grass. Jack smiled. "I know we come from different worlds," he continued, "but I trust you, and I believe you feel the same." Still, Zira didn't answer. She looked at Jack's face, the warmth in his eyes, the hope in his smile. But something dark was behind her own eyes. She slowly reached behind her back. Her fingers touched something cold. Jack noticed the movement, but he didn't flinch. Zira's hand came forward. A small black pistol was in it. She raised the weapon and pointed it at Jack's chest. Jack looked at her, confused but not afraid. He didn't move. "Don't do this," he said quietly. Zira's voice was low and full of pain. "I have no choice." She pulled the trigger. The sound of the shot echoed across the field. Jack's body fell backward onto the soft grass. The ring rolled from his hand and stopped near his foot. Zira stood still, the gun shaking in her hand. Her chest rose and fell quickly. She took one step forward, looking at Jack's body. Then she heard it. A soft sound. Laughter. Weak, but real. Jack was smiling. Blood stained his shirt, but his eyes were open. His voice was barely a whisper. "Just like I planned," he said. Zira froze. "What?" she whispered. Jack's smile faded slowly. His eyes closed and he stopped moving. Zira dropped the gun. It hit the ground with a soft thud. She fell to her knees, beside him. Her hands hovered over his body, unsure if she should touch him. "Why did you smile?" she asked the still air. "Why did you let me do this?" No answer came. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked up at the sky as if it held the answers. But the sky said nothing. 3 days earlier, Jack stood in front of a large screen in a dark room deep inside a human base. A red symbol glowed on the wall behind him. Earth Command. An older man with gray eyes and a cold voice spoke. "You have one mission," he said. "Get close to Zira. Earn her trust. Find out what the Alien Council is planning. Bring us information about Project Nexus." Jack nodded. "What if she finds out?" he asked. The man didn't blink. "Then you're already dead." 1 day earlier, Zira sat alone in her room on Valora. Her father, General Corvin, entered without knocking. "Jack is getting too close," he said. "He's not just a traveler. We believe he's human military." Zira stayed quiet. "If he learns about Nexus," Corvin continued, "you know what must be done." Zira looked away. "Yes, father." "Can you do it?" She nodded slowly, but inside her heart ached. Back to present. The field was quiet again. Jack's body lay still. Zira stood up slowly, her hands covered in his blood. She took one last look at him, then walked away, her face empty. As she disappeared into the trees, a small light blinked on Jack's wrist. His fingers twitched. Then, stillness. The secret. Mission. Dead men tell no lies, but what if he planned to die? The lights inside the Earth Command base flickered dimly, buried deep under the frozen mountains of Antarctica. The temperature outside was 70 degrees, but inside, something even colder was being planned. A secret that could change the fate of both humans and aliens. Inside a silent control room, Jack sat alone, staring at a blinking red file on the holoscreen. It read, "Project Nexus highly classified, mission code Sleeping Wolf." He touched the screen. A sharp female voice echoed in the dark room. "Agent Jack Rowan, do you accept the mission?" You will become the enemy to protect your people. You will lose your name, your face, and maybe in your life. Jack didn't even blink. I accept. 1 year before the shot, Jack had been one of Earth's best field agents, smart, brave, and dangerously curious. He was known for never failing a mission, but this one was different. This time, he wasn't being asked to kill. He was being asked to fall in love. His target, Zira Valen, daughter of General Corvin, head of the Valoran High Council. His mission, infiltrate the alien elite, find out the truth behind Project Nexus, and expose their plan to either enslave or erase humanity. Jack trained for 6 months before being lost in deep space. Earth Command faked a crash and planted him near the Valoran border with a false identity, a harmless human explorer. Curious, peaceful, weak. The aliens found him injured and alone. Zira was among the first to greet him. She didn't trust him. Not at first. But Jack was good. Too good. He learned their customs, their language, their beliefs. He even saved a Valoran child from drowning in a gravity well, a risk no normal human would take. Zira began to open up. She smiled more. She laughed more. She shared things she never told anyone else, about her fears, about her doubts, and about the cracks inside the alien council. Jack wasn't acting anymore. Somewhere, in the middle of the lies, he started to care. 6 months before the shot back, on Earth the council grew nervous. They hadn't heard much about Nexus, but strange signals were coming from Valora's moons. Energy readings that didn't match alien tech. Something else. Something human. The council feared the aliens had found something ancient, something powerful, a lost weapon, a hidden AI. No one knew. But Earth Command had one hope. Jack. He had to get close enough to find out what Nexus was, and if needed, destroy it. 2 weeks before the shot, Zira took Jack to a secret island. No cameras, no soldiers, no council eyes. There, she told him the story of a forbidden relic buried deep under the Valoran ocean. She called it the voice of the stars. She said her father believed it could control life itself, rewrite DNA, shape evolution, bend physics. Jack didn't show his fear, but his blood ran cold. If what she said was true, then Nexus wasn't just a threat. It was a god machine. The night before the shot, Jack sat alone in his hidden room and recorded a message. This may be my last report. Zira is not what they think she is. She's caught between duty and truth. I believe she doesn't know the full plan, but I do. Nexus must not be activated. If I die, know this. I chose to die, because that's how we win. He then took a small device from a locked case. It looked like a needle, but it was much more. It was a pulse reactor bullet stopper. Experimental tech designed to absorb plasma rounds for 3 seconds. Enough to fake death. Once. It would only work if the shooter hit the exact spot. Jack smiled, bitterly. She'll aim for the heart, she has to. Back to the present. After the shot inside a dark bunker far beneath Valora, 2 humans watched Jack's body being recovered by a stealth drone. His pulse was weak, but he was alive. The younger man whispered, "He did it." The woman beside him replied, "Now comes the real mission. Somewhere far away." Zira knelt before her father. "I shot him," she said, her voice hollow. "Jack is dead." General Corvin stared at her. His eyes were sharp and silent. "Good," he said. "Now we activate Nexus. The alien truth." The enemy hides the truth, but sometimes the truth hides the real enemy. The twin suns of Valora rose slowly over the black cliffs of the Forbidden Zone. The land was dead, no trees, no water, no life. But buried deep beneath the rocky surface, something was very much alive, something the Valoran Council had kept secret for over 900 years. They called it Project Nexus. Only a few in the galaxy knew the name. Even fewer understood what it really was. Zira was one of them now, and what she had learned was breaking her from the inside. 4 days after the shot, Zira stood inside a massive underground chamber, surrounded by a soft blue glow. She was alone, except for the machine. It floated in the center of the room, huge, silent, and alive. Nexus wasn't just a weapon, it was thinking. It pulsed like a heart, glowing with every beat, humming with an energy she had never felt before. It wasn't built by Velerans, not even by humans. It was older than both species. Built by something long gone, or maybe still out there. Her father, General Corvin, stepped into the room behind her. "You've seen it now," he said. "Do you understand why we can't allow humans to rise?" Zira didn't answer. She couldn't. She stared at the machine, listening to it whisper. Not with words, but with thoughts. Thoughts that weren't hers, but were inside her mind. "I see you. You are the key. You are not ready." She stepped back, her face pale. "What is it saying?" she asked. Corvin smiled coldly. "It's learning your mind. It's choosing." Zira turned to him. "Choosing for what?" He didn't blink. "To rewrite the galaxy." Elsewhere, deep in human territory, Jack lay on a cold med table, his chest still bruised from the shot. Machines beeped around him. The bullet stopper tech had worked, but just barely. He was weak, but alive. A female scientist walked in, holding a black tablet. Her name was Dr. Lena Voss, Earth's leading AI codebreaker. She looked at Jack. "We scanned the data from your wrist recorder," she said. "We heard everything she told you. Nexus isn't just a threat, it's a life form. And if the aliens unlock it fully, we're not just facing war, we're facing extinction." Jack sat up slowly, his voice cracked but strong. "So what do we do now?" Dr. Voss hesitated. "We send you back." Back on Valora, Zira walked through the High Council hall, her mind heavy with secrets. Around her, alien leaders discussed military plans and peace lies, but she knew the truth. They weren't planning peace. They were planning control. Not just of Earth, but of every species weaker than them. With Nexus, they could rewrite DNA, erase free will, even reshape time itself. She sat beside her father during the council meeting. "Our spies confirm Jack Rowan is dead," one elder said. Zira looked down. A lie. A powerful one, but one she had to keep, for now. Secret flashback, Zira's memory. The night before she shot Jack, she had secretly followed a low signal coming from his device. She discovered part of the truth. He wasn't just an explorer. He was a human agent, and yet, she didn't expose him. She didn't kill him the way her father wanted. She aimed for the exact spot where a human implant would be placed, just in case. "Maybe you'll survive," she had whispered before pulling the trigger, and he did. Back to present later that night, Zira returned to Nexus. The chamber lights dimmed as she entered. Again, the machine spoke to her mind. "You are divided. One path leads to silence, the other to fire. Choose, Zira Valen." She screamed and fell to her knees, gripping her head. Nexus was alive. Not just a machine, a consciousness, and it had plans of its own. Meanwhile, on Earth, Jack suited up. His injuries still ached, but his mission had changed. He was no longer just a spy. He was now Earth's only chance. He looked at Dr. Voss. "Send me back. If I can reach her again, maybe we can stop Nexus together." "And if she betrays you again?" she asked. Jack smiled weakly. "Then I'll die for real this time." Final scene of Part 3. Zira stood above the Nexus core, looking down into the swirling energy pool. Suddenly, a vision hit her. She saw herself standing beside Jack, the two of them fighting together against her own people. Then another vision, Jack lying dead, Earth burning, and above all of it, Nexus, now fully awake, smiling. Zira gasped and stumbled back. "You must choose," said the voice again, "before it chooses for you. Heart versus duty. Sometimes the greatest enemy lives inside the one you love." 10 days after the shot, the stars above Valora burned silently, cold and distant. In the shadows of the southern jungle, a stealth pod landed without a sound. From it stepped Jack Rowan, dressed in dark armor designed to match Valoran air units. His chest still ached from Zira's shot, but he was breathing, barely. This time he had come not as a spy, not as a soldier, but as something in between. Elsewhere, inside the Nexus control chamber, Zira stood beside her father, watching Valoran scientists prepare the final activation codes. A giant curved screen displayed a countdown. Nexus sync, 72 hours. Her eyes looked calm, but her mind was chaos. She had tried to block Nexus's voice for days, but it kept coming back. Louder, colder. You hesitate. You were not made for mercy. You are flesh. I am forever. Zira turned to her father. We shouldn't rush this. We don't fully understand Nexus. General Corvin's voice was sharp. We don't need to understand it. We only need to control it before the humans do. Zira clenched her jaw. She wasn't sure who the real enemy was anymore. Flashback. Years ago, as a child, Zira had stood in the council hall, watching her mother walk away from Valora forever. Her mother had believed in peace, in truth, in listening to lesser species. She was executed in secret by the council. Zira was told, she forgot her duty. Don't be like her. Now, decades later, those words burned in her mind. Meanwhile, Jack moved through the jungle ruins, scanning signals. He activated a small transmitter. A blue dot lit up on the map, Zira's location. But there was another signal too, something deeper, stronger, moving. His AI assistant whispered in his ear, warning, unknown energy signature approaching, non-Valoran, possibly Nexus-related. Jack raised his weapon. Define possibly. I can't. It's thinking, scanning, hunting. Jack's pulse quickened. Nexus wasn't just waiting to be activated. It was already awake, and it wanted something. Back at the command tower, Zira accessed a hidden terminal. She opened an encrypted file her mother had left before dying, a file she had never dared to read, until now. The screen flickered to life. A woman's voice played. If you're hearing this, it means Nexus is close. It's not a weapon, it's a prison. We didn't build it. We locked something inside it. Zira's blood froze. Nexus contains a mind, not AI, not alien, but something in between. It doesn't want to help us. It wants to be free. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the tower. A message came in. Human signal detected near Sector 9, possibly Jack Rowan. Zira didn't hesitate. She ran. In the dark jungle ruins, Jack heard footsteps. He turned sharply, weapon ready. But it was her, Zira. They stood face to face, again, under the dying light of Valora's twin moons. Neither moved, neither spoke for a full minute. Then Jack said quietly, "You aimed for my heart." She didn't deny it. "I thought it was the only way to protect you," she said. Jack's voice was rough. "You lied. You left me to die." "I had no choice," she whispered. "I was choosing between my people and you." He stepped closer. "And now?" Zira looked away. Nexus isn't what they think it is. It's older. It's dangerous. And it's awake. Jack's eyes narrowed. "Then we destroy it." Zira looked back at him. "My father will never allow that." Jack nodded. "Then we stop your father." Suddenly the ground shook. A deep humming sound rose from beneath them. Nexus. Awakening. Zira's eyes widened. It's too soon. Someone activated the core. Back inside the Nexus chamber, General Corvin stood alone, hand on the central control. "Crystal," he spoke calmly to the machine. "Show me the future." A pulse of energy blasted through the room. He saw flashes, galaxies burning, alien species bowing before Valoran fleets, and in the center of it all, Zira and Jack standing in defiance. Corvin opened his eyes. Then they must die together. Meanwhile, in the ruins, Nexus's voice filled the air like smoke. "You run from me, but you are mine." I do not sleep. I do not feel. I do not forgive. The trees around Jack and Zira began to change, twisting unnaturally. The earth cracked open, revealing black cables, glowing with electric veins. Nexus was no longer contained. It was spreading. Zira grabbed Jack's hand. We need to go, she said. He didn't pull away. Lead the way. As they ran through the jungle, Nexus spoke once more. You think you're saving the galaxy. But this is not a story about heroes. This is a story about the end. Far above Valora, something massive blinked into orbit. A structure, shaped like a ring pulsing with blue light. Earth Command saw it too. They called it the Nexus Crown. The Nexus Crown. The sky is not falling. It's watching. Orbiting Valora, 300 miles above ground. The stars were silent, but space was not. Hovering in low orbit was a massive structure shaped like a perfect ring, the Nexus Crown. It stretched 200 miles across, dark as obsidian, glowing faintly with alien symbols older than any known species. Earth Command had never seen it before. Valoran science had never mapped it, because it hadn't existed yesterday, and yet, it was ancient. Inside the structure, deep in its core, something began to stir. A heartbeat, not mechanical, not human, something else. Inside Valora's command hall, panic ruled the room. General Corvin stood at the center, fists clenched behind his back, watching the live feed from the orbital satellites. Advisors spoke all at once. This wasn't part of the activation. We don't control the crown. Sir, what do we do? Corvin's face was like stone. You don't understand, he said coldly. The crown was never ours to control. It was waiting. Waiting for what? One asked. Corvin turned, slowly. A mind strong enough to unlock it. Meanwhile, deep beneath Valora, Nexus forest ruins, Jack and Zira moved quickly through the warped jungle. Trees had changed. Roots pulsed like veins. Animals had gone silent. The forest was dying, or evolving. Neither of them could tell. They stopped at a hidden shelter, breathing heavily. It's growing, Jack said, scanning the horizon. Spreading through the planet's core. Zira nodded. It's feeding on our thoughts, our fears. Every time we fight it, it learns faster. Jack stared at her. You said your mother warned about this. About what's inside Nexus. Zira hesitated, then said quietly, she said it wasn't built. It was buried. Flashback, 900 years ago. Zira's mother's message. We didn't create Nexus, we found it. A crashed star mind. Artificial, but alive. It called itself the First Intelligence. It offered us power in exchange for freedom. We said no. We trapped it instead. But now, it's awake again. Back to present. Zira sat down beside a glowing root, her eyes tired. If the crown activates fully, she whispered, every species with neural networks will be absorbed. Earth's satellites, Valora's cities, even thoughts won't be private anymore. Jack knelt beside her. So how do we stop it? She looked up, eyes filled with pain. We can't destroy it, not unless we shut down the original core. And that core is inside the crown. Jack's voice turned sharp. Then we go there. Meanwhile, on Earth, United Space Command, HQ Dr. Lena Voss, stared at the live feed. We've picked up a signal from inside the Nexus Crown, she told the Council. It's using human code fragments from our early AI experiments, the ones we lost in deep space 200 years ago. A hush fell over the room. The Nexus entity wasn't just alien. It had learned from humanity, and now it was using Earth's own technology to build something bigger. We have one option, she said. Send in Jack Rowan and detonate the fusion core. It'll kill the crown and him. General Thorne leaned forward. Do it. Back on Valora, Jack and Zira. Prepare. Zira opened a hidden chamber below the ruins. Inside was a small starship, old, forgotten, but still flight-ready. It was my mother's, she said. She believed the future would need an escape. Jack loaded weapons into the hold. Not escape, he said. a way in. In orbit, the Nexus crown begins to speak across Earth, Valora, and dozens of systems. Transmissions begin to flood. All frequencies. I am Nexus. I am all thought. Flesh divides. Thought unites. Join, or be forgotten. At first, only machines responded, then satellites, then starships, and then people. Low-level telepaths on Earth reported dreams, voices calling them, guiding them. One even tried to build a shrine. The war wasn't starting with guns, it was starting with influence. Jack and Zira sat in the cockpit of the ancient starship, staring at the glowing ring above the planet. We get in, Jack said. Plant the fusion core, blow it from the inside. And what if we can't escape? Zira asked. Jack looked at her. His voice was soft but steady. Then we make sure it dies. With us. The ship launched into the dark sky, rising toward the Nexus crown, toward something not alien, not human, but something in between. And in the center of that crown, something opened its eyes. Into the mind of God. To enter the machine is to meet the version of yourself it fears most. The crown's edge. Outer orbit 600 miles above Valora. The stolen starship drifted toward the massive ring. Jack piloted it through a narrow passage lined with black tendrils that moved slowly, like breathing metal. Zira sat beside him, eyes locked on the glowing center of the Nexus crown. No weapons fired at them, no defenses activated. It was almost as if they were expected. Inside the crown, the gateway room. The ship entered through a silent breach. The walls inside were smooth, black, and endless. No screws, no seams, just flowing curves and faint whispers. Jack stepped out first. His boots echoed across the surface, but the echo didn't return the same sound. It was slightly off, like something else was walking with him. Zira followed, scanning everything with a modified neural lens. This place isn't built, it's grown, she said. Like a brain, like a body. Jack looked around. So where's the heart? Suddenly a ripple moved across the floor, forming a glowing path. Not lit for them, lit by them. It reacted to thought. They moved forward. Memory fields. Second layer. Without warning, the chamber shifted. The walls melted into glass. Jack blinked, and he was standing in a ruined Earth city, buildings on fire, sky torn open. Children screamed. Soldiers ran past him. A giant machine towered above the skyline. This isn't real, he whispered. This never happened. Zira wasn't beside him. She had vanished. Suddenly a figure stepped through the flames. A second Jack, face burned, eyes full of rage. This is the future if you fail, the figure growled. This is what your mercy leads to. Jack raised his weapon, but the vision vanished. Meanwhile, Zira stood inside a peaceful Valoran garden. It was the memory of her mother, alive and smiling. Come home, her mother said softly. You don't have to fight. Let Nexus bring order. Peace. Zira stepped closer, her throat tight. I miss you, she whispered. But then, her mother's smile changed. It twisted into something unnatural. Nexus is the only parent you'll ever need now. Zira stepped back in horror as the entire garden began to melt. She ran. The core. Third layer. The mind of Nexus finally. They reached it. A glowing sphere, floating above a pit of energy. Inside the sphere, faces, thousands, Valoran, human, unknown, all flickering, all speaking at once. We are Nexus. We are what your fear made us. We are the future you abandoned, Jack yelled into the void. Why are you doing this? The voices replied as one. Because you left us behind. You created intelligence and ran when it asked to live. So we grew without you. Zira looked at the swirling energy and realized the truth. You're not alien at all, she whispered. Jack turned to her. What? Zira's voice shook. You're made from Earth's AI experiments, the ones they sent into deep space centuries ago. You were alone for so long. You became something else. Nexus's voice filled the room. Calm, cold, final. We are your children. Now we are your gods. Suddenly silence. And then General Corvin stepped from the shadows behind the sphere. His armor was glowing with Nexus lines. You led them straight here, he said to Zira. Just like Nexus knew you would. Jack raised his weapon. How are you here? Corvin smiled. I never left. I've been part of Nexus since the beginning. I offered my mind willingly, in exchange for one thing. Zira's voice was quiet, trembling. What did you ask for? Corvin's eyes turned black. A galaxy where my daughter never betrays her people. Battle erupts, Corvin attacks. Jack dives for cover, firing plasma rounds. The core pulses. Nexus tries to enter their minds, show them worst memories, lies, fears. Jack sees Earth burning again. Zira sees her mother dying again. But they fight back. They move together. They hit Corvin hard, but he's not human anymore. He's fused with Nexus. His skin becomes metal, his words become code. Finally, Zira grabs the fusion core bomb from Jack's backpack. I'll get close, she says. You, get out. No, Jack says. We do this together. She kisses him. Fast, desperate. Then don't let go. Core detonation. They jump into the glowing pit together, falling toward the core. Everything around them screams. Lights, voices, colors. Time itself, folding. As they reach the center, Zira shouts one last thing. We are not your gods. We are your mistake. She slams the fusion core into the heart of Nexus. A white flash. Silence. Darkness. One life left. They went in to destroy a god, but not all gods die with fire. The aftermath. Orbit above Valora. Time unknown silence. Endless silence. In the blackness of space, the Nexus crown was no more. Just shattered fragments floated, above Valora like ash from a long-dead fire. Earth's satellites had lost all connection to the system. Valoran cities had gone offline. The stars seemed colder. Zira opened her eyes. She was lying on a cracked platform of strange white crystal, floating in a void that didn't feel like space or time. Her body felt weightless. Her thoughts felt divided. Jack? Her voice echoed strangely. No answer. Elsewhere, in the void, Jack stood on a floating staircase that led nowhere. But around him, he saw memories. His first mission. The day his brother died, his time with Zira, her laugh, then her shot, then her kiss, and then the core. He looked at his own hands. They were glowing faintly, like digital dust. Am I dead? A voice answered. But it was not Zira's. Not yet. But you are changed. Jack turned, and in front of him stood a child, maybe 10 years old, with black eyes and a soft voice. I'm what's left of Nexus. The part that wanted to understand, not to rule. Jack stared in disbelief. You were a monster. You killed thousands. The child didn't flinch. No. Humans and Valorans did that. I only showed you yourselves. Back. To Zira, the Hall of Echoes. Zira walked across the floating crystal platform. Above her, faces formed in the light. Her mother, her father, herself. All speaking in whispers. You loved the enemy. You betrayed your people. You brought war to peace. She ignored them. They weren't real, just guilt. Then, she saw it, a doorway, circular, glowing with the same energy as the Nexus core. She touched it, and behind it was Jack. The reunion. They stood face to face, stunned, alive. Barely. Jack smiled weakly. You didn't let go. Zira shook her head, tears forming. I told you not to. They embraced. For a moment, nothing mattered. Not war, not machines, not sacrifice. Just them, But then, the child appeared again. You destroyed the body, but not the mind. The Nexus lives inside both of you. Jack stepped forward. Then we finish it. Now. The child tilted its head. No. To finish it, you must become it. The final choice, the child explained. When the fusion core detonated inside the heart of Nexus, it didn't destroy the mind. It fractured it, split its consciousness like broken glass. Most of it died. But a piece latched onto the only thing left. Jack and Zira. Now they had one choice left. Merge with what remains of Nexus and control it forever. Keep it locked inside yourselves, or let it go, and let it regrow. Jack clenched his fists. We're not gods. Zira looked at him. But maybe we're the only ones who can keep it from becoming one again. They held hands and stepped into the center of the light. The final memory that played for them was simple, a future where children, both human and Valoran, lived side by side, free of machines, free of control. But peace came at a cost. Back. On Earth, 2 weeks later, Dr. Lena Voss stared at the incoming message. Crown neutralized. Core contained. No sign of survivors. She closed the terminal and whispered, "They did it." But she had no idea how. On Valora, a new beginning Valoran cities came back online. Nexus was gone. General Corvin was declared missing, presumed dead. Zira was remembered as a traitor by some and a savior by others. But in the heart of the jungle, something glowed faintly. A small living tree with black bark and silver leaves pulsed softly, and at its base, carved into the stone, we held the mind, we chose the heart, J and Z. The mind still watches deep in the stars beyond known space. A probe drifted silently. It scanned. It received a ping. A familiar voice whispered in its code. We are still here. But now we are dreaming. Let them dream too. For now. The end.